UFC Vegas 72 has just wrapped up, and you know what? This card was stacked like absolute shit, but it was actually pretty damn good. I'm a little late on this one after watching BKFC, and yeah, Mendes and Alvarez put on an absolute show, and Rockhold quit like a bitch, just like I said he would. Anyway, we can dissect that shit later. A lot of fights to get into here, so I'm just gonna go in. Hit me up on Twitter, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into this. Cowan missed weight coming into this one. She's an absolute scrub. Horth basically won the first and the third round in this one pretty clearly. I mean, who really cares anyway? Second round I gave to Cowan for getting a takedown, and we all know that's a 10-7 in women's MMA. No damage required. Cowan gassed out pretty hard in this, but it wasn't a bad little scrap in all honesty. Unanimous decision, 29-28. And a nice start to the card, which has not been the way of things lately. Decent fight. Don't bother watching it if you didn't see it live. Next. Alright, Mcgee jumped off the couch for this one, and he looked pretty damn good. Newson is terrible. I picked against him against Kelleher, and somehow I thought he'd beat a guy I'd never even heard of. My mistake. First round was kind of close, I guess, but Newson was pretty much doing that helicopter punch technique we all did on the playground back in the day, and I knew he was fucked at that point. Second was when it basically ended. Mcgee did really well to stuff a takedown and get a whiz up, and then tagged Newson's ass sitting and dropped him. RNC Newson totally quitting there. This took me to 1-1. Newson needs to be cut. Next fight. Alright, this was the last female fight on the card, thank fuck. There was another really embarrassing weight miss from Alekseeva, the Russian Ronda. Alright. This woman makes me really uncomfortable and like not in a fun way. She's just straight up creepy. Egger came in there looking like a mid soccer mum, and she fights like one. Fight took place on the feet for a minute or two. Egger had the back and got rolled up like a pretzel and straight into a knee bar. She tapped pretty damn fast. For me, it really sucks when someone misses weight and grabs a win bonus. On the feet against anyone decent, Alekseeva is going to get spanked. She looks like she'd probably enjoy that, to be fair. Actually, scratch that. She's probably going to be a champion. Nice win, though. Fair play. That Sambo looks pretty nice. Just took me to 1-2. Alright, Johnson's back of the head soul patch never fails to make me smile, but that smile was on the other side of my face by the end of this one. 3 rounds essentially played out the same way. Johnson spent the majority of this fight defending takedowns, and Durdan relentlessly transitioned between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It was pretty impressive, I have to admit. Johnson defends well enough to kind of prevent getting subbed and getting ground and pounded, but he really struggled to shrug Durdan off and regain position, and this was the story of the fight. Johnson did have a moment at the end of the second where he let the hands go a little and seemed to be rallying, but that was all he had in this one. I'm never picking him again. How did this man beat Zamagilov? I will say this though, this does show what a fraud Makayev is. I dislike Durdan as a person, but he did well and pulled one straight out of the Marab playbook. Terrible post-fight promo as well, but he did show a little bit of humility, which is rare for a bell end of this level. Yeah, he got this 30-27. No controversy. 1-3. Moving on. Alright, this was 2 fat, lazy middleweights contending at heavyweight. Disgraceful human specimens on display here. It was kind of a fun scrap though, I'm not gonna lie. Sidebar, if you are overweight and looking for a career, UFC heavyweight lads, sign up now. So I picked the European couch potato. First 2 rounds for me were split between them. Collier got the first with activity, and Buday took over in the second with the slightly better clinch work and knees to up the middle as I predicted. There was a nice nasty eye poke in the third by Buday, which was perfect as it gave them both time to recharge. The bodywork from Buday I thought had him edge the third, and he finished out the round on top, which clinched the round and the fight. 29-28 for Buday. I needed this one as my predictions were looking pretty embarrassing at this point. Alright, I called this one the Parlay Destroyer. Everyone was picking Quinlan, but not this guy. Long story short, this was a masterclass in distance control. Waters looks like Lurch at this weight class, and he stayed at a safe range and just timed and landed accurate strikes for all 3 rounds. Quinlan is tough and will learn from this. He probably should have gone to leg kicks more, but fuck it. Waters has really good range control, good takedown defense, and he's very patient in there. What really impressed me is that he stuck to a game plan, even when he had Quinlan hurt. This was a clear 30-27, and yeah, I was back to 3-3, so very happy about that. Alright, this was another fraud check alert. This fight was actually alright. De Lima basically spammed vicious heavy leg kicks throughout the first 2 rounds, until he softened Costa up enough to get takedowns. He did do some nice clinch work also. Costa is tough as nails and does deserve credit for that. The third was a little closer as both men were basically sucking on fumes. I think Costa will actually do alright against some of the saggy bums in the division, which is fucking full of them. Clear 29-28, and that's what it was called. I said Rogerio would plug his bumhole, and thankfully we were all spared from that. 4-3, back up baby, woo! Must say as well, the judges were really good on this card all the way through. When's the last time I've said that? Alright, I don't know what to say about this one, to be honest. I picked Erosa even though he lost to fucking Caceres, who thinks he's in a cartoon world. What was I thinking? Erosa got melted. People will say it was an early stoppage, and yeah, it kind of was. Watch it if you haven't, it's kind of an interesting one. I will say though that the way it was going, he probably just got saved from more brain damage. Erosa will be kept around because at least he tries to make it fun. His chin is dusty though, and it's only going to be more devastating losses from here on out. Down to 4-4. I really fucked this one up. Alright, I had this on the home straight of a parlay, and boy, I nearly shit myself several times in this one. Brundage came out of the traps early and almost knocked Viera's head off. Dropped him in the second half of the first round and had him clinging to his leg and holding on for dear life. Viera did manage to survive the round, so fair play to him. Brundage proved he has the IQ of a fucking donkey though at the beginning of the second by trying to pull a ghillie on him. Viera is an 8-time Jiu-Jitsu world champion. This isn't women's MMA, bro. He must have had himself losing in the second on his own bet slip. Viera said thanks very much and choked the daylights out of Brundage on the ground. Nobody this dumb should be allowed in a cage. 5-4, another win for me. Viera's gas tank is still horrific though. Picking against him next time, his chin is suspect. Alright, I said the odds on this one were straight up disrespectful, and despite how this ended, I stand by that. I picked Borralho and he put in a very rounded performance in this one. Decent close round in the first, but Cal really impressed me with how accurate he was during the rounds. Mcgee is tough and had some moments, but once Cal realized how he could find the takedowns, he applied this early on in the second, rained ground and pound down and got under the chin. A really nice sub win and a third card in a row where I cashed really big. Very impressive win for Borralho. I really hate when fighters say put respect on my name though. Horrible to watch. Delighted with the win though, and this one guaranteed another winning card. So pleased about that. Alright, I got this one horribly wrong and I really should have seen it coming. Song was incredible tonight. He was way too fast on the feet, way too accurate, and despite the fact that Simon had the reach advantage, it always seemed like he was lunging in to close the distance, which is never a good sign. First round was pretty close, but Yadong pretty much lit him up in every other round. I'm going to say fair play to Simon though for going at it in the fifth when he knew he was fucked, but boy did he pay for it. Yadong got this by TKO in the fifth round, and at 25 with this much experience under his belt, he's right back in the mix. He called out O'Malley, which I thought was a really dumb call out. He's not going to get that fight, especially after just losing to Sandhagen. But he also said he's willing to fight Viera again, who I think he lost to if I remember rightly. But that would be a bit of a sidestep to me. It might even be seen as a bit of a backward step. This was one I was really happy to get wrong. Don't know where Simon goes from here. He's probably going to be at the top of the kind of second pack of fighters at bantamweight. That division is stacked to hell. Great performance by Song, and I ended the card 6-5. Alright, so that takes my overall record to the year to 101-51. That dropped me to a win percentage of 65%, which is still very decent. The aim is to stay above 60. I'm going to be back on Monday to break down the next card, which is really a good one. It's pretty stacked. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you for that one in a bit.